Hello, my name is Garrett Tomaszek. I'm here with Maddie Quigley, and we're going to do the presentation on social media tricks. Just to give you a little background, we are not social media strategists, just leaders like you sharing what we've learned over this past year. And just to give a little bit more of a background information, we took over the YLC Instagram about a year ago. Since then, we've increased followers, likes, we've done a lot of stuff with the IGTV, a lot of stuff with the social media or the story, and a lot of overall just Instagram overall. If you are able to open up your chapter's Instagram or your personal Instagram to follow along with the presentation, and we'll show you different tricks on stuff on how you can better use or utilize the data within Instagram.
Like Garrett said, I'm Maddie Quigley. I'm a second-year member of the YLC, and I go to Maryville University in St. Louis, Missouri. And as he said, we've been running the Instagram for just about a year now, and we've definitely learned a lot, and we've improved a lot. We've made a lot of mistakes, and definitely learned a lot. So that's what we're going to explain to you today. One of the first things that every social media account should do is link all their accounts to Instagram. Any chapter, Facebook account, Twitter account, whatever social media that you have tied to your chapter, make sure that is linked to your Instagram. And in addition to that, make sure all the posts have the same information. You don't want to have some social media platforms just talking about different chapter meetings, or some social media platforms only talking about fundraising. Most people only go to one place to get their information, and you want it to be consistent across the board. There's a lot of different social media accounts that you can utilize, but we don't recommend getting a Snapchat just because it's not really a great tool to have information. A lot of the things on Snapchat only last a few seconds or 24 hours, but we have found that Snapchat filters for stories or posts are very successful if you have that in your budget. Another thing that we wanted to know is to filter your feeds. So if you have a post on your account talking about something related to a meeting or a fundraiser that is time sensitive, make sure that a little bit after that you archive that post or delete that post, just so you don't have redundant information on your profile.
Awesome. Okay, now let's talk about highlights. Highlights, if you're unfamiliar with them, they are these like icons right here. You can look at all these different profiles right here. And they're just basically past story posts, so things that you've posted to your story that you're able to save to your profile. These can be saved until they'll stay on your profile until you remove them, which is great for stuff like if you're wanting to inform chapter leaders or people in your community about certain pillars, so about one-to-one friendship, the jobs program, or the leadership program, these are perfect for that. If you actually go to ours, the Best Buddies YLC Instagram, and if you look over the friendship, leadership, jobs, and living, we give a pretty good synopsis of each exactly what those pillars are to give you an idea of like what kind of stuff that you can put on there. Most chapters, what you should be kind of going towards is more kind of like what Seven Links got down here. And they kind of talk about past meetings, Halloween, parties that they've had in the past, social media stuff, spirit nights, and they'll post stuff like that so then you can get an idea of what their chapter does. State accounts, if you're a program manager, we recommend that you stick with like pillars, the main 4 pillars if you have all 4 in your state. If not, just put the ones that are in your state. So in Texas, we don't have living yet. So we only have friendship, jobs, and leadership on the profile for Texas. And then they have events. So that can be any statewide events that the state puts on, or like Friendship Walk, for example. But I do want to talk about the cohesiveness of the color and the themes of all of these different highlights. So you can see like Texas here, they have a very cohesive theme with Best Buddies colors. And then each little icon has something kind of related to each one. So friendship, you have the graduation, like high school. Jobs, you got a little briefcase. Leadership, you got one person in line with a bunch of people behind them. And then events, you just got a star. You can have something in there. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly that, but that just elevates your Instagram to another level. If you look down at DCs, this is very cohesive, goes well together, but it doesn't seem like it's at the same updated version as like a theme of like Texas, but still very cohesive and still very well put together. One thing I do want to point out on Seven Lakes, does an amazing job. They have a bunch of their highlights on theirs, and they're very colorful, and the palette goes very well together, which is very aesthetically pleasing. However, if you look at the bottom of each one, the labeling, they did very extensive labeling, which is great for organization. However, you can't fully read the title under each one, so it's difficult for a chapter member or somebody that's learning more about your chapter exactly what that is. So make sure if you do choose to use the highlights to stick with very simplistic, like one word or two short words that can fit into that full description underneath the highlights. And I believe that is it. And if you need ever like an example, these 6 right here are perfect examples of ones to mimic a highlights, or if you're wanting to get started on theming or putting together your Instagram profile, these are all great examples to look from.
Now moving on to posting. So these are some timelines that we like to follow for our account. So some good times to post are lunchtime, so like 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., or in the evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Those are generally the peak times where the most amount of people are on Instagram. However, each account is a little bit different, and you can find out what the peak times are for your account and your followers using the insights tool on your account. And we'll go into a little bit more detail later on that tool, and a lot of other things that you can see regarding that. But it's really important to post during those peak times, because posts that are more recent get pushed to the top of people's feed. So when you do post, you want to make sure that you're getting as many eyes on it as possible. You don't want it to get buried in other different posts. So you want to make sure that you're posting when all your followers are online.
Awesome. What is the goal? So you always want to have a goal when you are posting. You don't want to just be posting random pictures, stuff that you've took a picture of like 2 years ago and you just need to post something on there, so you just post. You want to have a purpose. What are you posting about? And then your next question is, what are you trying to tell your followers? You don't want to just be posting a picture and then there's no caption or description or any tagging or even a location. You got to have different stuff on there so you can boost the interaction with that post. So you want to be clear and precise with your caption, but also have some creativity. Creativity goes a long way. And if you're able to tie a theme, so if you have a Halloween dance, have like some kind of Halloween creative caption at the beginning, and then describe what y'all did at that one event. At the bottom here, there's a resource. Best Buddies Texas, their SAB Student Advisory Board. They're starting a website that has like a blog post, and one of their board members posted one about how to social media the best way. Highly recommend checking that out. We'll also be sending this link out with anybody that signed up for this presentation. So we'll send that out as well with that resource.
So just like it's important to post at good times of the day, it's also important to post consistently. We would say to post at least once a week for your chapter or your state, but we recommend doing it every day or every other day if that is possible, if you have the content. Like Garrett just said before, you don't want to be posting random things, but if you do have that content that you're able to consistently put on your profile, that is super important, and definitely something that'll help boost your profile, boost your followers, boost your likes. And like boost the eyes on your account. I think it's really important to have a lot of consistent posts so people understand what Best Buddies is and they see it often and they're always reminded about it. And something that's super easy is to post to your story, and you can always repost things. You can do pictures and all that, but always repost stuff from Best Buddies, from the YLC, just so people are always reminded about Best Buddies and your chapter, and it keeps with consistent traffic.
Awesome. And then let's talk about the quality over quantity. Before we get to that, like Maddie said about the story, if you are unfamiliar with IGT videos, that is a great way to post any videos that you take at events. And then if you post them on your story, you can link it to that story, and people just have to swipe up on the story and they can watch the post and right there. And then also on stories, make sure that you're familiar with the sticker options. And if you're not, it's like a little icon at the very top when you're editing the story. There's a lot of stuff in there. And depending on different times of the years, there's different stuff that'll automatically save all the stories with similar stickers and put them at the top or at the very beginning of anybody's feed. So for example, when the election was happening, there was a voter sticker that you could put on any story post, and anybody that follows you, anybody that uses that sticker, all of those stories are combined together into like one story, and it's put at the very beginning of everybody's feed. And so then now, since you utilize that sticker, now everybody's going to see your post. So be sure to be utilizing all your resources with Instagram or with within the story. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. But look at the let's look at the different quality of these pictures. So these two are two action shots, which are great. We don't want to discourage any action shots. We actually prefer an action shot over a standstill picture over here. However, if you zone in on the clarity and how clear, precise the images are, it's not as clear as this one over here. This one here, we can't really fully make out her face. We got a few blurry images. She's still putting her hair up. She's tossing a beanbag, and then we have a few people over here. We can't really fully make out. They're almost kind of too far in the frame, and then you have a few people over here, get a bunch of chairs in the background. Now, if they would have just taken a picture from here over, that would have been a really good picture. You want to make sure you're filling your post or your picture up with people, or making sure that it's more kind of like this, where everybody's looking at the camera. But even if they're not looking at the camera, that's okay. You just got to make sure it's a very well put together picture. This picture right here was done on a phone, just like these. So it really just depends on the timing of the picture. And then one thing that we do want to note, since the rules and regulations with masks are so different across the country, and we want to make sure all chapter members are safe, please be putting, make sure if any posts that you're taking right now and posting, that all members are wearing a mask or are socially distanced, and make sure the masks are above the nose, underneath the chin, just so that your chapter doesn't get any repercussions from your school, your state, the organization. We just don't know what can happen. So we want to make sure everybody's health is safe, but also your chapter is all good and running when posting. So you can use these as examples of stuff not to post, and then this one to be great example to post.
And just to add real quick, so you've had an event and the only pictures that you have are from the ones on the left. Make sure you try and get at least, one good cover picture, and maybe you can post those two pictures in a series. So that way, at least the cover picture, everyone's looking at the camera, it's more like the one on the right, and those two pictures that you do have are able to be included.
Yes.
Okay, and now to go over Insights, which is a great tool that Instagram provides. You have to have a business account to access these, though. And if you do have a chapter account and it is a personal account, that is no big deal. You can easily change it to a business account in the settings. Something that we have run into is some accounts are private, so it has to be a public account. If there's different reasons why that you have to have a private account, we do recommend that it is public. You're going to get more eyes on your account and more people able to see your chapter. So we think it's really important to have a public account versus a private one. But in addition to that, you're going to get a lot of these data points that help you make your account better. So you're going to be shown data from the last 7 days. It gives you a follower breakdown, how many men are following you, how many women are following you, where these people are from, so you know who to try and cater your posts to and your content to. It'll also show your growth, so you can see when you're posting at certain times of the day, if that's successful or not, or if you're posting certain types of pictures, if those are successful or not. You're going to be able to see if you gain more followers, if you gain more views, all that kind of stuff, which is super helpful. Also, like I mentioned before, it'll show the most active times and most active days for your personal followers, which is super important to pay attention to. And it'll give you just basic overview of accounts that you've reached, your interactions. So whether or not people liked your pictures or commented on them or shared them, and it'll give you a look at your total followers.
Awesome. And we had one question. What's the difference between reach and impressions? That just means reach is the number of people who witnessed that post. So that's basically the number of people that have had your post go through their feed. Impressions is the number of people that interacted with that post. So whether that is a like, a share, a comment, whether they liked it, unliked it, commented, they went to the comments, they looked into it, or if they touched on your profile name and went to your profile, any interaction with that post, it counts each one. So that's what those two mean. Tagging, if you are a chapter, make sure you are tagging YLC, BBI, so at Best Buddies University, your state account. If there's a city account, tag that as well, and tag any chapters in your area. We recommend doing these three, the YLC, Best Buddies, and University, just because these are national accounts, and this is a great way for your chapter to get free publicity throughout the organization. It helps us see what you're doing. So when awards and nominations start coming around in the spring and the summer, we have chapters who are like, oh, chapter was doing a lot of great stuff this year because they were tagging us. We know exactly what they've been up to. State accounts, so then your state knows exactly what your chapter is going on, and same with the city. But you want to tag your surrounding chapters, so then you could do almost social media collaborations with surrounding chapters. Or you can almost invite chapters around your area, and you can team up and do events together, stuff like that. And the more people you're able to tag, the more likely it will be shared, and the more people that are able to see your account and more posts, and eventually could increase the number of members that come to your events and meetings.
So a feature that Garrett and I really like is the Instagram Live feature. We did the Maddie and Garrett show over the summer, and that's something that I think helped us a lot with gaining traction and gaining followers on the YLC account, and just letting people know more about not only Best Buddies, but the YLC. So something that your personal chapter can do is just a buddy pair of the month. You can get your buddies on there and just have them answer some questions or talk about an activity that they did together. And it just reminds people about Best Buddies, especially now. It allows people to feel more present instead of, just texting all the time or looking at their phone, not really seeing people live. Seeing that is so exciting and really uplifting. And like I said before, it's a great way to increase followers and traffic on our account. Something that's so awesome about going live is even if someone doesn't have your post notifications on, they will be informed that you're going live. So even if they pop in for just a second, it's no big deal, because at least that they went to your account and they're reminded about your account and your profile. And another idea that we had is you can do an Instagram collab with a surrounding chapter or state. So you could even do like a buddy pair of the month that way, and, you know, have people talk that way, which we've never really seen before, which I think would be so amazing. And it would be great for different communities to come together. You can also work with this for fundraising, getting sponsorships. And there's also a way to fundraise for nonprofits through the Instagram Live. Right before you go live, it's an option if you want to pick a nonprofit to fundraise with, and you can pick Best Buddies, which is super awesome. And just a tip that we had, so everyone can hear you and see you during a live, is to make sure you do it in front of a lamp or a window. Make sure your internet connection is stable. Garrett and I always use headphones just to make sure that we're able to communicate well and everyone's able to hear us and we are getting the most out of our live.
Awesome. And before we go on, just to say, like, this fundraising, it definitely works. When I was a chapter president, we utilized it very well, and that was before I've been seeing other chapters do it. So it works a lot. Works very well. All you really need to do is just set out like pricing, saying, hey, we'll post your logo, whatever your community company that you're wanting to advertise for. So if that's a local bakery or whatever it may be, he's like, hey, we'll advertise your logo on our Instagram. All you really need to do is just post it on your story. I don't recommend posting it to your feed. Post it to your story, and then you can almost put it as a highlight. You could say our sponsors, and you just label it sponsors right there. And then you would say, hey, we have X amount of followers. We have like 700 followers, and we'll post it to our story. And then they, in return, will give you funding, whether that's a straight donation check or whether that's items that you need for your chapter, so that they could just buy T-shirts for your chapter or something along those lines. But I definitely recommend y'all utilizing this resource. It's very simplistic, very easy, and it's a great way to get funding. The algorithm. The algorithm can be very complicated and pretty complex. So we wanted to keep it as simplistic as possible. And so just to give it a bumps, the Instagram algorithm bumps posts up from accounts that a user already interacts with. For this, community engagement is key. Understanding your Instagram algorithm will help with increasing traffic to your accounts, which would in turn increase attendance at events and meetings. It also shows the best and most popular posts since the last time a user opened the app. Users who don't check Instagram frequently will only see posts with high engagement and most recently posted. So timing, like always, what we've been talking about this whole presentation, is key. And that's all very easily able to find in your Instagram settings, or you just go to your profile, and underneath it, there's an option that just says Insights. You click on that, you scroll through, and you'll find the exact day and time, the best time to post your post. So usually it's in the evening, like we talked about, but timing is key.
And these are just a couple apps that Garrett and I use very often. So one that Garrett is like king with is Canva, and that's a lot of what our ads are and covers are from. And this presentation actually was made using Canva. So it's a great free tool to use. There's a paid version, but the free version is honestly enough for you and your chapter. You're able to, there's a lot of different templates and stuff that you can use. And for the most part, it's very, very, very user friendly. Mojo is a paid service, but I know Garrett only paid for a month of it, and then now he's able to edit all the videos that he's made using this app. And this is basically what you could put on your story. It's these 10-second little videos that are a little bit more interactive, a little bit more fun to look at than just a normal picture on your story. And like I said before, Garrett was able to just pay for a month of it, and now he's been able to edit it and change those videos around, which has been super useful. Splice is a app that I use very often to edit some videos. Garrett and I have been doing segments for the BBTV, and we film those and edit those all on our iPhones. So it's a great editing tool. You don't have to have fancy equipment to post like very professional videos. That especially indicative of our BBTV segments. I think those have gone really well and look pretty professional, and they're all from our phone. And then finally, Linktree is something that we highly recommend. On Instagram, when you look at your bio, you're only allowed to put one link in that bio. And for a lot of the time, you have a lot of things that you need to promote that you need to have easily accessible links to. And it could be a fundraiser, or a t-shirt form, or BBO, or so many different things. And there's only one spot to put it. So Linktree is what would go in that spot. And then you go to it. And if you look at the picture on the right, those are all links that we have in our Linktree. So it goes over to Best Buddies YLC, resources, our YouTube channel, our Buddy Breakdown nomination, Best Buddies Jobs, all that. And so that way you're able to have that information easily accessible, even though there's only one link.
Awesome. And before we wrap up, I just want to say a few things. Canva, if you have not used Canva or you don't know what Canva is, I highly recommend taking the time. If you have a break from school or work, take the time, look at it. There's a lot of great stuff in there. I highly recommend making an account for either if you're a program manager for your state, or for if you're a chapter leader to make one for your chapter. And if you don't know what Mojo is, go to our Instagram and look at the profile, the highlights of the friendship, leadership, jobs, and living pillar. All of those were done through Mojo to give you an idea of what that exactly was. But I believe that is all. And if you have any questions about social media, about anything that we discuss, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Maddie and I will be more than happy to help you with any questions that you or concerns that you have. And you can email us at the ylc@bestbuddies.org. And until next time, we look forward to doing another presentation with y'all.